Hello, all you horror homies. It's me. We're back to talk in this entry about 2000's Scream number Trace. That's 3, compadres. That's more than some horror franchises get, period. Now, I know what you're thinking. Many people consider this to be the worst entry. But I can explain that. I truly can. Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson, they did the best they possibly could with this entry. However, real-life events in Columbine had the studio nervous, and the violence had to be toned down. The humor needed to be brought up, which I get. I love a joke from time to time. It's a joke when I see people online bashing this movie without seeing the clear original path that this was on, without seeing that they can look at it and truly see what's hidden beneath the surface. It also makes me laugh when people think going up the stairs to escape me is going to save them. It won't. So moving on, Scream 3. Well, Neve Campbell returns once again as Sidney Prescott. We have David Arquette as Dewey Riley and Courtney Cox back as Gale Weathers. Just can't seem to nail them on their heads. Liev Schreiber's Cotton Weary, who was originally accused of murdering Sidney's mother, made his first full character-driven appearance in the previous film, Scream 2. He appears very briefly at the beginning of this film before we find out that the in-universe film franchise based around the Woodsboro murders, known as Stab, is also entering its third entry. The film being in production, we get to see the in-universe version of a cast of characters portraying our leads. Sidney, of course, is suffering grievous PTSD due to just not laying down and dying at my hands. This could have been so easy. As murders begin to fill the world of Hollywood, where all our dreams become scenes on the silver screen, Sidney finds herself forcing herself out of hiding and potentially into the arms of Mark, a detective portrayed by McDreamy Patrick Dempsey. As Dewey does his best, his due diligence, to work with Gale and discover who this time lies beneath the surface of this mask. This entry, again, in part due to the lack of the violence and gore that made the previous 2 entries so fascinating in exploration of the tropes of horror, is not as well enjoyed by the fan base. However, if you ignore that, if you truly explore how this film was ahead of its time and shows the exploitation that men and women both had to go through back in the days of yore within Hollywood. This preceded the Me Too movement by over a decade. It's more relevant today than they could have imagined when this entry was produced. And even though the violence isn't there, the humor is higher, it still has some great kills, some unique character flaws. It's got Patrick freaking Warburton in a small role. And a fun enough climax that if this were the final entry in my franchise, it ties it all back to the original film. Yes, it is a retcon, but for the sake of this film and for closing everything out with a neat little bow, it actually does work. Now, personally, I would have gone a different route. But this is just based upon me. This is not something that I have full creative freedom to craft. That fell to Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven. By my black and soon to be red right hand, I tell you, the film could have been different, but it's still an integral piece of the franchise, as it allows Sydney to decide whether I'm going to choose her path in life, or if she can gain the will, the strength, to push forward and decide she wants to control her journey, her story. So with that being said, after this, we take an 11-year hiatus before Scream 4, also known as SCRE4M, which is one of the most meta takes within the horror genre. And in my opinion, it deserves more love than it gets. All that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please check out this dude's, while he's still possibly living, other videos on DBZ All-Star on YouTube. You can also like, subscribe, comment, click that bell for notifications of future content. Apparently he's on other social media platforms, so you can check out Twitter, SnapX, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram at either #1Animaniac or Animaniac1. Thanks for watching. Halfway there. Stay healthy. Stay safe. And be well.